Hi, my name is Ming and I teach English. Today, we're going to learn some phrasal verbs, idioms, and slang using a video. What we're going to do is watch a clip of a video. I'm going to break down the native expressions used in that clip, and then I'm going to give you examples of how you can use these expressions in your daily conversation. The video that we're going to watch is called How to Quickly Get Out of a Rut by the Better Ideas channel. The link is in the description below. After you finish watching my video, you should go back and watch the original video to check your understanding of the phrases. By the end of this video, you should be able to use these native expressions in your conversations more confidently. Like and follow for more native expressions using stories and videos. Let's get started. So first of all, what does it mean to be stuck in a rut? A rut is a long hole in a road that forms because tires have been driving over the same spot for a long time. So if you're stuck in a rut, it means that you are basically doing the same thing every day over and over again out of habit. To get out of a rut, maybe you need to change things up. If you're stuck in a rut, you might need a new adventure. When I get stuck in a rut, I look for things that inspire me. I'm not depressed. I just need to get out of my rut.
Were really productive earlier in the month. In fact, you were kind of killing it.
Killing it means having a lot of success in something or winning. You can be killing it in anything that you can be successful at. For example, killing it in the gym, killing it in business, whatever kind of business you're in. Maybe you're in real estate, right? You can be killing it in real estate. You could be killing it in terms of fashion sense or any game or sport that you play. You could be killing it on social media. Maybe you're killing it in English. I don't know. You tell me. A related slang term that probably derives from killing it is to slay. If someone says, wow, your outfit slays, that means this is a really great outfit. I love it. If you slay at something, it means you're killing it. You're doing really well. You're having a lot of success.
You're reading lots of books, hitting the gym consistently.
Hitting the gym means going to the gym. We can say hitting any place that we go. So I'm going to hit the market on Friday night means I'm going to the market on Friday night. Some related expressions are hit the showers, go take a shower. Hit the books, study. Hit the hay, go to bed. Or hit the road, which is like just to leave a place. Sometimes you might hear hit up, like hit a person up, hit me up means contact me. And that's where the text speak HMU comes from. Hit me up means contact me. I'll hit you up later.
Maybe you woke up on the wrong side of the bed.
Woke up on the wrong side of the bed. This is an old idiom, and it means you are in a bad mood. Like maybe you're angry or frustrated, or maybe you're just having an off day. Like you can't concentrate, you can't focus, things seem to not be going right for you. I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. This expression is not exceptionally common with younger people. Like, I don't think that my daughter would say this phrase, but I've heard my mom say this phrase my whole life.
The thought dawns on you to go to the gym.
Dawns on you. When something dawns on you, it means it occurs to you or you realize it. I was about to leave the house when it dawned on me that I didn't have my keys. It dawned on me that maybe I was working too much.
While this issue is a deep psychological issue that I'll dive into in a later video.
Dive into. He uses this phrase a couple times in this video to dive into something means to go into it, meaning talk about it or explore the topic. It could be any topic. The Better Ideas channel tends to dive into psychology and motivation topics. My channel tends to dive into English native expressions and grammar. So if we're diving into something, we are exploring it or talking about it. Before we dive into today's lectures, how about everyone introduce themselves?
As to how I get myself out of these type of pseudo-depressive ruts.
A pseudo-depressive rut. So we already know what a rut is. The prefix pseudo means false or fake. For example, a pseudonym is a fake name. Pseudo also has the connotation of appearing to be the thing or pretending to be the thing. So like an impersonator. Pseudoscience is science that seems to be real science, or maybe even is pretending to be real science. You could put pseudo in front of any noun to mean that it's a fake, whatever that thing is. You could have a pseudo-intellectual, or a pseudo-scholar, or pseudo-history, or a pseudo-teacher. They call most social media sites pseudo-anonymous. Anonymous means we don't know who you are. So they call it pseudo-anonymous because it looks like you're anonymous because you're just giving your username and you're not displaying your real name for everyone to see. But it's not exactly anonymous because you have to give your real name to the site administrators.
This principle is the catalyst for action.
Catalyst for action. So in science, a catalyst is a chemical that makes it easier for a chemical reaction to happen, or that speeds up a chemical reaction. But we use this term outside of science. A catalyst could be anything that like gets you moving. Her death was the catalyst that drove them to start a nonprofit. So notice that I said the catalyst that drove them. You could also say the catalyst that made them, the catalyst that inspired them to start the nonprofit, the catalyst that motivated them to start the nonprofit. The way that I was treated at my last few jobs was the catalyst for my transition to freelance work. If you have made it this far, I'm super proud of you and you should hit subscribe. When video creators ask you to hit subscribe or hit the like button, that's called a call to action in English. And a call to action is a catalyst. At least we hope it's a catalyst.
You need something that'll spark some sort of action, something to get the momentum going.
Spark some kind of action. Common collocations would be spark creativity, spark inspiration, spark change, spark a new behavior or action, or spark a new idea. The imagery of a spark is like the beginning of a fire. Meeting him sparked a change in her attitude. I need to read more poetry to spark my creativity. So a catalyst sparks action. A synonym of spark is ignite. So again, it's the imagery of starting a fire. AI could ignite a new way of learning languages. This is sort of creative language, like it's metaphor, right? Like it's a metaphor for fire. So you can use this in casual conversation. But I think in a professional context, like a more business sounding word for ignite or spark might be enable or facilitate. Social media certainly enables us to talk to each other, but does it really facilitate human connection?
Something to get the momentum going, something to get the ball rolling.
Get the ball rolling is a phrase that means get something started so that the momentum can help to push you forward. Maybe an interviewer will get the ball rolling by asking a few questions to get the guest to speak on a certain topic. Usually when you apply for a new job, you need to get the ball rolling by submitting an application or sending in your resume. Or like in the clip, we can take action to get the ball rolling on our sense of motivation.
By the end, he says something that strikes a chord with you and you're inspired to take action.
If something strikes a chord, it means it affects you emotionally. Striking a chord is a musical reference. It means play a chord. So the chord is in harmony, right? These notes are harmonious. So if something strikes a chord with you, it means you are in harmony with this thing that you heard. So it's affecting you in a way that you feel like, yeah, we're on the same page. Like, I understand what this guy is saying. For example, his lectures really struck a chord with me. I feel like he's saying something that's relevant to me. Another expression that's very common that means the same thing is resonates with me. Something resonates with me means it strikes a chord, means I agree with this on some level. So when you see a video on YouTube of something that resonates with you, it makes you want to go to that person's page and see who they are, find out more about them, or you immediately subscribe to them. You need to know more about this person. And we use the language resonates with me on a certain level to describe the way that we're affected. So it could be like, it resonates with me on an emotional level. It resonates with me on a logical level. It resonates with me on a creative level, or the same thing with strike a chord. So it strikes a chord with me emotionally or creatively or logically. A slang term for a similar idea is hits different. So hits different is about something that is affecting you in a unique and personal way. It's usually about pop culture topics because it's a slang term. The new Hobson song really hits different, means it affected me personally. But it doesn't have to be about pop culture, right? It could actually be about anything. I'll give you a nerdy example. Recently, I have been considering writing a dystopian future novel. So for inspiration, I'm watching a lot of history videos on YouTube. So when you watch history videos, normally they have a certain kind of effect on you. But when you watch history videos and you think of how you can incorporate this into a new creative project, all of a sudden, those history videos are hitting different. Or I could also say those videos are resonating with me on a creative level.
Don't be a slave driver to the primal side of your brain.
A slave driver is literally the person in charge of slaves. We don't usually use it like that because no slaves. The way that we use it is about bosses, right? Because we have a lot of those. A boss that makes you work too hard and too much is a slave driver. He is such a slave driver. He pushes us to get up at 5 a.m. to go to work. If you are a literal slave driver, you run the risk of people killing you. If you are a metaphorical slave driver, you run the risk of your employees quitting, rebelling against you, or actively sabotaging your business. Don't be a slave driver. Here, he's using it to personify the cerebral cortex of your mind, the logical part of your mind. He's like, don't let that part of your mind be a slave driver to the emotional part of your mind in the brainstem, because it's going to rebel, and that's not going to be productive. He says you want a negotiation between these two parts of your mind. You don't want one beating the other one up.
primal side of your brain won't feel listened to, it'll lash out.
To lash out at someone means to be aggressive. And this could be like in a verbal way, or it could be in a physical way, like physically violent. When we feel threatened, sometimes we lash out at others without thinking. So if I just say that and I give you no context, you don't know whether I mean verbally or physically. I need to give you more information. You can lash out generally, or you can lash out at a specific person. Sometimes if a child is being bullied or abused, they might lash out at their peers, at their classmates, rather than lashing out at the bully or the abuser because they feel like that person is too powerful. So they will lash out on their classmates. Or if someone is hurt or angry and they don't know how to deal with their emotions, it's common for people to lash out at the people closest to them. And we have another expression for that in English that is hurt people hurt people.
Provide compassionate guidance to the primal part of your brain and very gradually win it over.
To win somebody over is to persuade them or bring them around to your way of thinking or your way of being. I didn't really like him at first, but his personality won me over. Means I didn't like him at first, but eventually I started to think, oh, maybe he's an okay guy. If I just tell you his personality won me over, that does not give you enough information to know whether I'm talking about something romantic, right? It doesn't necessarily mean in a romantic way. If you're talking about how you met your wife, you could also say, I won her over with my wit and charm. And in that case, we would know that you were talking about winning her over romantically. But the phrase win someone over is not necessarily romantic. For example, you can win over a child who didn't like you at first, or a politician can win over the voters. This channel is about winning you guys over to the idea that studying grammar is a waste of your time when you want to improve your speaking.
How the heck am I supposed to get out of a rut if I don't ride this momentum out into the sunset?
Okay, there's so much going on here. His whole phrase was ride the momentum out into the sunset. This is a phrase that has never been said before in the history of English. He made this up, but he's put two common phrases together. Here he says, ride the momentum. This alludes to a very common expression, which is ride a wave. We can ride a wave of something. For example, we can ride a wave of success, ride a wave of happiness, ride a wave of depression. The imagery of a wave means the happiness is temporary. We're not in control of this wave, and it's going to go away. But while it's here, we're going to take advantage of it and enjoy the ride. Riding the wave is about making the most of what we were given. To ride the momentum is like to take advantage of the momentum. He also says, ride out into the sunset. This is a cliche that means the same thing as live happily ever after, right? Like it's the perfect ending, the perfect happy ending to a story. And they rode off into the sunset. By the way, this riding on, they're riding a horse. This is like cowboy stuff. So they're riding a horse off into the sunset means they're going off to live happily ever after. She married a known criminal, but she thinks somehow that they're just going to ride off into the sunset.
If you develop a game plan over the course of 7 days to get out of a rut,
a game plan is just a strategy. I'm sure that this comes from sports, right? Like making a plan for how you're going to play. I don't know sports. I'm sorry, I can't do it. The plan that the coach makes and gives the players before they go play whatever it is that they're playing. You need to get your social media game plan dialed in before you make a product to sell. By the way, getting something dialed in means getting the settings right, getting everything set up properly. So like once you get your workflow dialed in, it's easy to be productive. It means like once you get everything set up and you're like in a rhythm and you're doing the schedule every day, now it's easy to be productive. You could also say someone is dialed in. If someone is dialed in, it means they are concentrating and focused and paying attention. So she was dialed in throughout the entire class. It means she was paying attention.
That gradually and organically, both sides of your brain will be in agreement.
Organically. This word is used a lot lately. Organic means natural. When it's about food, it means that there's no artificial ingredients or pesticides or chemicals sprayed on the food. It also means it's super expensive. If a process is described as organic, it means it happened naturally, meaning nobody planned it. Nobody orchestrated it. Nobody controlled it or manipulated it. It just kind of happened naturally, ground up. If a business grows organically, it means they started small and they just kept building. They kept on making more profits and investing, making more profits and investing, rather than acquiring other businesses. If you grow organically on social media, it means that you don't pay for ads or buy subscribers.
Start to rise from the ashes like a phoenix.
To rise from the ashes like a phoenix. A phoenix, if you do not know, is a mythical bird that lives for like hundreds of years and then burns itself to death in a fire, turns into ashes, and then is reborn from those ashes. And it's a symbol of like rebirth and immortality and resurrection and all of that stuff. So we use this metaphor a lot to talk about starting over after some catastrophe where you have new strength and wisdom, right? Phoenix is also a symbol of hope. That is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Check out my TikTok for daily uploads while you're waiting for the next video on YouTube. Bye.